Hello everyone and welcome. This is Ninja Talks with an updated guide to all the characters in Castle Crashers, starting with the Red Knight. Since the Red Knight is a starting character, we will not need to unlock him in any way. You'll have him from the beginning. The Red Knight's starting weapon is the mace and his arrows are red. The magic that he has are Thunderbolt, Charge Shot, Static Impediment, and Lightning Pillar. So Thunderbolt is the longer you hold the button, the more damage it does. Charge Shot is a small electricity ball that goes straight. Static Impediment is a shock and blow, which does 96 damage. And Lightning Pillar is your lightning jump. So once you beat the game with the Red Knight, you will unlock the Skeleton. His starting weapon is the Skeletor Mace, and his magic goes as follows. The Dark Pillars, which are dark energy bursts which shoot up from the ground. Dark Shot, which shoots dark projectiles. Armor Pierce is his elemental infusion, which is the XXXY attack. And Pillar of Darkness, which you jump with dark magic boosts. Also, his arrow is bones, so you shoot bones with his arrows. So once you beat the game with the Skeleton, you will unlock the Bear. The Bear's starting weapon is the club, and his magic is Tornado, Wind Ball, Armor Pierce, and Pillar of Wind. Also, his arrows are fish. So, for Tornado, the button must be held down for the effect to continue. It will cost normal MP to start, then continue to drain MP slowly and steadily until your MP runs out. For the Wind Ball, the attack fires a ball of wind. For your Armor Pierce, which is your XXXY attack, it does base damage times 2, and Pillar of Wind is your wind jump. Next up is the Orange Knight. The Orange Knight is a starting character. His element is fire, and his starting weapon is the Battle Axe. His splash attack, which is his main magic, is Flame Burst. His magic projectile is Fireball. His elemental infusion, which is the XXXY attack, is Flame Engulfment. And his magic jump is a Pillar of Fire, which you leap with Yellow Flame. His Flame Burst is based on a long splash attack, which also burns the enemies. I also forgot to mention that since he's orange, his arrows are orange. Once you beat the game with the Orange Knight, you will get the Fire Demon. His starting weapon is the Black Morning Star, and his magic goes as follows. Flaming Pillars for his splash attack, Fireball for his magic projectile, Flame Engulfment for his elemental infusion, and Fire Jump for his magic jump. Also, his arrows are black. So for the Fire Demon, the Flaming Pillars shoot flames up from the ground. The magic projectiles are fireballs, which shoots fireballs straight or horizontal, and his magic jump is a fire jump, just like the Orange Knight. Once you beat the game with the Fire Demon, you will get the Ninja. His starting weapon is the Sai, his splash attack is Smoke Screen, his magic projectile is a Shuriken Throw, his elemental infusion is Armor Pierce, and his magic jump is a Smoke Pillar. Also, his arrows shoot kunais. For his regular splash attack, the Smoke Screen, it's a puff of purple smoke which appears in front of you. His magic projectile, as it states, is shurikens being thrown. And his magic jump is a Smoke Pillar. You jump with a purple cloud effect right under you. Also, the elemental infusion is Armor Pierce. Going on to the third starting character, it is the Blue Knight, which his magic is ice, and he could freeze people. The Blue Knight's starting weapon is the Seed Sword. His element is ice. For his splash attack, it's ice shards, which fall from the sky. His magic projectile is Ice Bolt, which shoots a pointed bullet of ice. His elemental infusion is Ice Enhancement, and his magic jump is an Ice Fist. Also, his arrows are blue. So, if hit with any of his attacks, the monster will freeze unless it is a boss monster. Also, with his elemental infusion, if you keep clicking XXY and quickly pause, you could actually do as much damage as you want because it actually breaks the game. Since you use XXY, the monster will freeze, and then you could keep doing XXY and he'll keep freezing. So you could technically do unlimited damage to any monster except boss monsters. Also, his ice shards freeze and his other attacks freeze enemies. Once you complete the game with the Ice Knight, you will get the Industrialist. The Industrialist starting weapon is the Ugly Mace. His splash attack is the Saw Trap, his magic projectile is the Buzzsaw, his elemental infusion is the Armor Pierce, and his magic jump is Smog Rise. Also, his arrows are black, but this character, 100%, if you want a character to defeat any boss instantly, this is your character. If you spam Saw Trap, you will pretty much cut any boss you want instantly. The only reason I'm not doing it is to show you guys how he plays. That's pretty much it. But if you want a great character, the Industrialist is for you. Once you beat the game with the Industrialist, you will get the Fencer. The Fencer's starting weapon is the Fencer's foil, and the Fencer is pretty much a copy of the Industrialist. All his attacks and all his magics are pretty much the same, except that his Saw Trap lasts a little longer. The next starting character is the Green Knight. His starting weapon is the Thin Sword. His element is Poison. His splash attack is Poison Blast. His magic projectile is Poison Ball. His elemental infusion is Poison Burst, and his magic jump is Poison Jump. His arrows are also green. So his splash attack, Poison Burst, is a poisonous cloud which knocks over enemies and hits them with poison. His projectile is Poison Ball, which you shoot a poison ball which poisons the target. And his magic jump is a leap, which you leap up with poison blowing down below, which poisons anyone that it gets hit with. This character is good because the poisoning damage over time makes it pretty powerful. Beating the game with the Green Knight makes you unlock the Royal Guard. The Royal Guard starting weapon is the Falchion. His element, he is non-elemental. His splash attack is Arrow Rain, his magic projectile is Bombs, his elemental infusion is Armor Pierce, and his magic jump is Dust Jump. His splash attack is Arrows from the Sky, which just shoots arrows from the sky. His magic projectile shoots bombs, which is pretty useful for some stages because you don't have to buy your own bombs. You could actually get pets with this person's bombs. Elemental infusion, double damage when you do the XXXY attack, and his dust jump is leaps up with a dust effect underneath him. So as you can see, the bombs also do a significant amount of damage. Once you beat the game with the Royal Guard, you will get the Saracen. His starting weapon is the Falchion, just like the Royal Guard. His splash attack is Sandstorm, his magic projectile is Sand Blast, his elemental infusion is Armor Pierce, and his magic jump is Pillar of Sand. Also, him and the Royal Guard's arrows are black. So as for the splash attack Sandstorm, it is just like the bear. You will turn into a tornado, and the longer you hold the button, the more damage you can do with the initial cost of some MP in the beginning and it draining on later. His Sandblast pushes back enemies, which is good for clearing mobs, and his magic jump is Pillar of Sand, which makes you jump with the sand effect. Next up is the Grey Knight. The Grey Knight starting weapon is the Skinny Sword, and we unlock him by beating the Barbarian boss. So the boss that we've been kicking his ass on normal, you just beat him and you will unlock the Grey Knight. His splash attack is Arrow Rain, his magic projectile is a bomb, his elemental infusion is magic enhanced hit, and his magic jump is Dust Jump. His arrows are also gray. For his splash attack, it's arrows which fall from the sky. His magic projectile is bombs. We've seen this before with the Royal Guard. His elemental infusion is a magic enhanced hit, which is the XXXY. It's base damage plus base damage. And his magic jump is a dust jump, leaps up with a dust effect. Also, there are two versions of the Grey Knight, but that's for later. Next up is Stoveface, and we get him by beating the game with the Grey Knight. His starting weapon is the Gladiator Sword. His splash attack is Arrow Rain. His magic projectile is a Genebia Toss. His elemental infusion is Armor Pierce, and his magic jump is Dust Jump. His arrows are also grayish black, just like most characters. His splash attack, just like the Grey Knight, is Arrow Rain. Arrows come from the sky. His magic projectile is a dagger being tossed. His elemental infusion is Armor Pierce, which is base damage times 2, and his magic jump is Dust Jump, which means he jumps with dust. With that said, the next character up is the Barbarian. You unlock the Barbarian by beating the King's Arena with any character. So just beat the King's Arena, which is located on the left in the beginning screen. Once you beat the King's Arena, he will unlock. The Barbarian's magic is Splash Attack is Weapon Rain. For his magic projectile, it's Axe Toss. For his elemental infusion, it's Armor Pierce. And for his magic jump, it's Dust Jump. His arrows, the end of them are black colored. And for his splash attack, the Weapon Rain is just like the Arrow Rain, except it's a different variety of weapons. His magic projectile, the Axe Toss, is just an axe being tossed. His elemental infusion is Armor Pierce, which is the XXXY attack, which is base magic damage times 2. And his magic jump is the Dust Jump, which you jump forward with a blast of dust damage. Anyone under you will get hit with this attack, just like any other character. So, like I said before, the Barbarian is unlocked by beating the King's Arena on the left hand side. Beat the game with the Barbarian and you will unlock the Killer Beekeeper. The Killer Beekeeper's starting weapon is the Rat Beating Bat. His splash attack is Bee Rain. His magic projectile is Bee Shot. His elemental infusion is Armor Pierce. And his magic jump is the Steam Jump. His arrows, like most characters, are black grayish color at the end. And his splash attack is that he makes bees rain from the sky. Magic projectile, he shoots bee straight forward or horizontal if you use your jump. And he jumps with purple steam cloud from underneath him. And like I said before, you unlock the Beekeeper by beating the game with the Barbarian. So once you beat it with the Barbarian, you will unlock the Beekeeper. The next character up on the list is the Thief. The Thief is unlocked by beating the Thieves Arena, and his starting weapon is the Thief's Sword. The Thieves Arena is located on the second row, left hand side, all the way to the left, right next to where you run away from the deers. The Thief's magic goes as follows: Splash Attack, which is Arrow Rain. His magic projectile is the Genebia Toss. His elemental infusion is the Armor Pierce, and his magic jump is Dust Jump. Just like we've seen before, the Arrow Rain shoots arrows from the sky. The Genebia Toss is just throwing a dagger. The Armor Pierce is the XXY attack, is just base magic damage times 2 because it's Armor Pierce. And the magic jump is Dust Jump, which leaps up with a dust effect, which damages all surrounding enemies. If you see a lot of duplicating attacks, the reason is because a lot of characters share the same magic. Beat the game with the Thief and you will unlock Snaky. Snaky's starting weapon is the Snaky Staff. His splash attack is Thorny Vines. His magic projectile is Dagger Toss. His elemental infusion is Armor Pierce, like most characters. And his magic jump is Vine Jump. His Thorny Vines attack pops out from the ground in front of you and does multiple attacks. The projectile is throwing a dagger. And his magic jump, you jump with a vine underneath you, which attacks all enemies around you. Next up is the Peasant. The Peasant is unlocked by beating the Peasant's Arena. The Peasant's starting weapon is the Wooden Spoon. The Peasant's Arena is all the way on the right side, right next to the Corn Boss. So, the Peasant's attack goes as follows. The splash attack is Arrow Rain. His magic projectile is Dagger Toss. His elemental infusion is Armor Pierce. And his magic jump is the Dust Jump. Just like before, the Arrow Rain shoots arrows from the sky. The Dagger Toss shoots an arrow. The Armor Pierce, which is the elemental infusion, the XXXY attack, is base magic damage times 2. and the dust jump leaps up with a dust effect that damages overlapped enemies. Once you beat the game with the Peasant, you will unlock the Civilian. The Civilian starting weapon is the Pitchfork. His splash attack is Arrow Rain. His magic projectile is Dagger Toss. His elemental infusion is Armor Pierce. His magic jump is Dust Jump. He is a copy of most of the characters we've seen already. Just like the splash attack, the Arrow Rain, arrows from the sky. The magic projectile is a dagger, which we toss. Elemental infusion, XXY attack is Armor Pierce, base magic damage times 2. And his dust jump is he leaps with the dust effects that damages overlapping enemies. Following that up is the Ice Kamau. You unlock him by beating the Icy Arena solo. His starting weapon is the Fishing Spear, and the Icy Arena is located pretty much all the way on top to the right side. So the Ice Kamau's splash attack is an Ice Shards. His magic projectile is a Snowball. His magic jump is a Snow Jump. Just like the Ice Knight, you could do his elemental infusion, which is XXXY, freeze the enemies, and just keep doing that over and over and over to keep doing unlimited damage. His Ice Shards also freeze just like the Ice Knight. The only thing different is that his magic projectile, the Snowballs, do not freeze. They just knock people over instead of freezing. And just like the Blue Knight, his elemental infusion could be used unlimitedly to do max amount of damage to the enemies. Beating the game with the Ice Kamau will give you the Brute. His starting weapon is the dual prong sword. His splash attack is Thorny Vines. His magic projectile is Acorn Toss. His elemental infusion is Armor Pierce, and his magic jump is Vine Jump. Also, the color of his arrows are black at the ending. Splash attack, just like Snaky, is Thorny Vines. Vines come from underground. His magic projectile is Acorn Toss. He throws acorns. Elemental infusion is Armor Pierce, and his magic jump is a vine, which comes from underground. Next up on the list is Conehead. Conehead is unlocked by beating the Volcano Arena, and his starting weapon is the Lightsaber. The Volcano Arena is all the way on top to the right. Conehead's magic goes as follows. His splash attack is Arrow Rain. His magic projectile is the Bomb Toss. His elemental infusion is Armor Pierce, and his magic jump is Dust Jump. Just like before, Arrow Rain, arrows rain from the sky. Bomb Toss, he throws a bomb. And magic jump, he jumps with dust from underneath him. Also, the color of his arrows are blackish gray, like most characters. So for the next part, you are going to need a character that has been in the game, because we are going to Insane. The character that we are going to unlock is the Open-Faced Grey Knight. To unlock him, you have to beat the Catfish on Insane. So choose the Industrialist or the Fencer, since their magic could literally just cut through most of these bosses. But if you don't have the Industrialist or Fencer, you could use any other character. As long as you beat the Catfish on Insane, you will unlock the Open-Faced Grey Knight, which is just like the Grey Knight. Once you beat the Catfish on Insane, you will unlock the Open-Faced Grey Knight. Starting weapon is the Skinny Sword, just like the Grey Knight. His splash attack is Arrow Rain. His magic projectile is Dagger Toss. Elemental infusion is Armor Pierce, and his magic jump is the Dust Jump. Also, his arrows are the blackish gray color. For the 360, you could also unlock him by having the King's Pack DLC. So going back to Insane, we are now going to do Pipistrello's Cave. So in Pipistrello's Cave on Insane, pick a character that you are good with so you could rush it. Primarily, like I said before, the Industrialist or the Fencer will make it the easiest, but if you don't have them at a decent level or you haven't beaten regular with them, go with a character that you prefer. But Insane is no walk in the park, and it will still take you a while even if you are in here with a character that you prefer. Once you get inside or to Pipistrello, if you hit the left corner and just shield, you could easily beat him as he will keep licking you. Once you beat the godforsaken Pipistrello on Insane, you will unlock the King. The King's starting weapon is the King's Mace, and his splash attack is Healing Cloud. His magic projectile is the Golden Dagger Toss. His elemental infusion is Armor Pierce, and his magic jump is Kingly Jump. His arrows are also made of gold, so they are yellow. His splash attack, Healing Cloud, heals you, and heals everyone who is next to you at the time. His magic projectile allows you to throw golden daggers, and his magic jump is a puffy white cloud which appears under the King. The next character up on the list is the Necromancer. So to unlock the Necromancer, you have to go to Insane, go to the Industrial Castle. Remember to have a sandwich so you could open the front door to the Industrial Castle. Also, this is Insane, so remember to bring 5 potions, which is the max amount of potions, into the castle. So if you're gonna die, just use a potion. The monsters and the boss here is quite difficult since it is Insane. I did have to use a couple of potions, and I did bring extra sandwiches just for the lift part, so I could easily beat them by just lifting them all up into the air and just keep spamming the attack. Also, I did bring the bipolar bear, so when they got weak, the bipolar bear could attack them. Also, if you are playing this on the 360, you unlock the Necromancer by buying the Necromantic Pack DLC. Since this is remastered, you can get the Necromancer, like I'm showing you, by beating the Industrial Castle. I chose the Industrialist because, as stated before, I believe he is one of the easiest characters to beat any boss with, since he has the saw blades, which you could just keep spamming over, and it will just melt the boss like butter. Once you beat the Industrial Castle, you will get the Necromancer. The Necromancer's starting weapon is the Evil Sword, and his splash attack is Skeletal Hands, which skeleton hands come from underneath. His magic projectile is Kamikaze Skeleton, which skeleton goes and kamikazes himself. His elemental infusion is Armor Pierce, because we haven't heard that one before. And magic jump is Skeletal Jump, which he jumps by exploding a skeleton. So as you can see, Armor Pierce, just like before, base damage times 2. And his skeleton attacks just shoots killer skeletons. Next up, and the last character that we could unlock on Insane, is the Cult Minion. The Cult Minion on the 360, you used to be able to get him on the Necromantic Pack, but on Castle Crashers Remastered, you get him by beating the Ice King. So go to the Ice King, like before, with your preferred character. Go through the stage like you normally would, and once you get to the ending and defeat the Ice King, you will unlock the Cult Minion. The Ice King has a ton, and when I say a ton of HP, I mean a ton. It will take you at least 15 minutes just to beat the Ice King. So I suggest you bring potions just in case so you don't die. I also suggest you bring the bipolar bear so when it gets down to at least a little HP, you will not have to worry about hitting the Ice King. The bear will actually attack him for you to make this a much easier boss battle. This is currently at 800% speed, and it still is taking a while for my character to beat the Ice King. So like I said before, bring potions, 5 max potions, and use a character that has good magic to be able to just melt him. Because any of the characters, you'll be here for a long while. But once you defeat the king, you will unlock the Cult Minion. The Cult Minion starts with the glow stick weapon. His splash attack is Dark Pillars, his magic projectile is Dark Shot, his elemental infusion is Armor Pierce, and his magic jump is Pillar of Darkness. So if you don't remember the skeleton, the Cult Minion is pretty much a copy of the skeleton with his magic. Dark Pillars does dark energy bursts up from the ground. Dark Shot shoots a dark projectile. Elemental Infusion is Armor Pierce, which is the XXXY attack, base damage times 2. And the Pillar of Darkness jumps. The next character up is the Alien. The Alien is unlocked by beating the Alien ship level on regular. So his starting weapon is the Alien Gun. His element is Fire. His splash attack is Comet. His magic projectile is Laser Gun. His elemental infusion is Flame Engulfment. And his magic jump is Tractor Beam. Comet fires a wide orange continuous ball of energy. His magic projectile Laser Gun is a small yellow ball of energy. And his magic jump is a bright cylinder beam, just like a UFO sucking him into the sky. Also, his arrows are the blackish gray color, just like most other characters. Going to the next character, you have to have a character that has already beaten the game on regular, and next to the insane mode, there is going to be the insane store. Hettie cost 1,200 gold to buy, and once you buy him, you will unlock him. Hettie was unlocked before by having Battle Block Theater. Now you could just buy him for 1,200. Hettie's starting weapon is the Emerald Sword. His splash attack is called Make It Rain. His magic projectile is Tears of a Pansy. His air projectile is Gem Toss. His elemental infusion is Armor Pierce, and his magic jump is Delicate Fairy Jump. His splash attack, Make It Rain, is a whale which comes and pretty much poops gold. Tears of a Pansy is he cries forward. His Gem Toss is when you're in the air, he shoots gems down. His elemental infusion is Armor Pierce. And the Delicate Fairy Jump, he jumps like a fairy. The next character is the Blacksmith. The Blacksmith has a small Easter egg. If you go to the Blacksmith, he is actually not there. So there could only be one Blacksmith on the screen. To unlock the Blacksmith, on Remastered, he is automatically unlocked, so you don't have to do anything. On the 360 version, though, you do have to buy the Blacksmith pack. So, the Blacksmith splash attack is Antlered Frog Tongue Shot. His magic projectile is Burning Hammer of Justice. His elemental infusion is Armor Pierce. His magic jump is Springboard. And his arrows are made of metal, so they are silver. For his Antlered Frog Tongue Shot, it does multiple damage depending on where the tongue hits. His magic projectile shoots a burning hammer. His elemental infusion is Armor Pierce, like before, and his magic jump is a Springboard, which he jumps on a springboard. Last but not least is the Pink Knight. The Pink Knight is automatically unlocked for you if you have the remastered version. If you have the 360 version, you need to buy the Pink Knight pack. So, the Pink Knight starts with the NG Lollipop. His splash attack is the Rainbow Chain. His magic projectile is Stuffed Animal Toss. His elemental infusion is Armor Pierce. And his magic jump is Pink Weasel Jump. Also, his arrows are rainbow and have a heart for the tip. The Rainbow Chain, when it hits an enemy, they do a pose, stunning them for a little bit. The magic projectile, the Stuffed Animal Toss, when it hits, it sparkles all around. The Armor Pierce, which is the elemental infusion, just does base damage times 2. And the Pink Weasel Jump is a magic jump where a pink weasel spawns from the bottom. I really do hope you guys enjoyed it, and for a recap, we will start. There are 31 characters, starting with the Green Knight, then the Red Knight, then the Blue Knight, the Orange Knight, the Grey Knight, the Barbarian, the Thief, the Fencer, the Beekeeper, the Industrialist, the Alien, the King, the Brute, Snaky, Saracen, Royal Guard, Stoveface, the Peasant, Bear, Necromancer, Conehead, the Civilian, Open-Faced Grey Knight, Fire Demon, Skeleton, Ice Kamau, Ninja, Cult Minion, Pink Knight, Blacksmith, and Hettie Haddington. If you made it to the ending, congrats to you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I also have a Patreon page, which is in the description down below. Thank you so much.